Combin on the air. Thanks for tuning into Instagram Growth Podcast. We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all of the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best Instagram marketer that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started. Hello and welcome everybody. Here's your host Anne, and today I'm interviewing somebody who is an intelligent, professional, interesting, and many-sided man, Tom Libelt. Tom Libelt is the Chief Executive Officer of Smart Brand Marketing and We Market online courses. At a young age, he has learned the art of selling and negotiation business. He was determined and became an entrepreneur, publisher, salesman, and one of the top Polish hip-hop artists. He published over 5,000 Kindle books, built a successful SEO and online course marketing business, partnered with a multi-champion, owned a coffee shop, a retail store, a record label, created a documentary, and released 2 albums with 5 hits on top 10 Polish radio. I really appreciate you coming on the show, Tom.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, so Tom, you're currently in Thailand, aren't you?
Yeah, I can see the pool from here and I can see the beach out the window.
Oh, lucky you. So tell me what you're actually doing there. Is it your place of living or you're there on a business trip or something?
Well, I came 3-4 years ago on a business trip and kept on coming back. And now it's one of the places I live every year. So for about 6 months a year, I stay in Thailand.
Oh, lucky you. And how do you like Asia in general?
It's different. It's depends where you go, right? Like I really enjoy Taiwan. Everything works, and it's like the best of China and Japan. Japan is a bit too rigid for me. China, not really. Thailand is very lax. Like anything goes. You can pay for anything. So I find it's pretty comfortable. Definitely.
Yeah, okay. And what does your typical day in your week look like? You're probably sitting somewhere close to the beach or to the pool and enjoy the breeze and good sunny weather?
Well, in the mornings and evenings, yes. But in the daytime, I do work. So
okay, at home, yeah.
So, but yeah, between like, so I'll wake up, I'll read something, enjoy like the breeze. Then I'll go to the gym and come back, and around 11 till 4 p.m. I'll work. That's my best hours. And then once again, I'll take time off. So yeah, I do work about 5 hours every day.
Oh, that's cool. I wish everyone could have such a possibility to travel the world and work from different beautiful places of our planet. But of course, you need to work hard before you get to this point. And here I want to ask you, so how did you get started with marketing?
With marketing? Well, when I was 16, I part-owned a record store with a couple of friends. And that was my first marketing gig, I would think. And then it kind of just continued. I went into the sales industry. I worked for a lot of companies, did sales. I owned a couple of different businesses after that. And, if you can't sell, you don't have a business, right? So
Yeah.
that was my main focus always, to be able to sell, which is getting the sales conversation down, right? To be able to sell things. And then marketing, which is amplifying those sales, so make more of them. It was always my focus. I think everything else is easy as long as the money comes in.
Yeah, okay. And then how close are your duties now to digital marketing? I mean, what place does marketing play now in your job, in your daily routine?
That's all I try to focus on. Everything else should be done by workers. My job is creating the systems, the creatives, and leading the company. That's it. Everything else, other people can do. But these main things, I don't want anyone else to be in charge of. Because if anyone else is in charge of them, they own the company, not me, because they're responsible for the sales. So that's my duty.
Okay. And what about influencer marketing? It's such a popular trend nowadays, and I'm sure that every business needs to have an influencer marketing as a part of the strategy. So what do you think about influencer marketing?
I mean, like the way we think of influencer marketing now, it is a bit of a trend, right? You got the Instagram, mostly that's really where it came from. It's the Instagram piece, right?
Yeah.
The problem with it is, so I've had a few clients recently who built up a huge following on Instagram, right? 400 so thousand, you know, and their reach went down by 80% because, what happened with Facebook initially is, when you put a post up in your group or your Facebook page, a lot of people seen it. Then the reach went down because Facebook wanted you to advertise and pay money, right?
Of course.
Since Instagram is owned by Facebook, it's the same move happening now. So that's become more challenging, and it's hitting influencers. They're also trying to take away likes. You probably heard about that, and so many other things. So yes, influencing is very important. Having a brand is important. Selling yourself is, but thinking of influencing just like that Instagram type of thing, it's more of a trend. I always look at more evergreen things. So have something you control. Like for me, that's my website. If you go to tomlibelt.com, you will see my biography, like my piece. I control that. And all the influence kind of goes out of that. And Instagram is great, but once again, it's not mine. I don't own it. And then I feel like the work put into it could be shut down at any moment, and I got to start from scratch.
Yes. We don't control the changes in the algorithm.
So I think it is important, but I think just the name changed. Before it was more personal branding, build a platform. Now it's become an influencer. But I actually find most influencers, the smaller ones on Instagram, don't actually make much money. So it's part of like, you have a lot of views, you make a lot of photos, but the money is not really there. So I wouldn't focus on becoming an Instagram influencer. Just have something that you can sell and think about how you can influence people in a way you control. And Instagram could be a piece of that. But it shouldn't be your end goal. Like, I want to be an Instagram influencer, because it could change at any moment.
Yeah. And do you have some part of your business that is directly connected to influencer marketing, or is influenced by influencer marketing the most?
Well, I mean, my brand sort of is. So I don't know if this is going to be a video interview, but if you look, this is what I gave up at my last conference, right, that I was part of.
Oh,
We market online courses, right? So I do, in a controlled way, do build my influence, right? Like my brand, people reach out to me all the time because they've seen someone with my mouse pad or they've seen me at an interview. So I am doing it, but I'm doing it through my own way, right? So going on podcasts like yours, I'm sharing influence. But it's not like a one channel thing, right? So I spread it out as much as possible. But yes, I mean, it's super important. Yeah, I think if you have a personal brand and you have influence, it's your life insurance policy in business. You can always sell something else if you have the reach, so I think it's important.
Okay. And nowadays there are more and more articles, different podcasts, blog posts dedicated to word of mouth marketing. So have you heard about that, and what do you think about it?
Well, word of mouth is usually either you shouting out how great you are, which is not the best way of doing it, or having your clients say how good you are, or having your friends or people who've seen you enough, that's that influencing, just say, oh, you have a course you need to market, talk to Tom, which happens a lot with me. And that's only because I've been using the channels to put my word out. Like, I'll be on LinkedIn, Twitter, all these social things, a lot of podcasts, I'll give out these mouse pads, whatever, just to get people to know what I'm doing. And I actually found this was interesting. I sponsored a conference not too long ago. And people had these, different goals, right? Because the conference person will ask you, what would you like to accomplish, by the sponsorship? But for me, it's always I just want everyone at this conference to know what I do. That's it. That's my whole thing. Which, they looked at me like, really? I was like, yeah, if you can pull that off, I'm happy. And they did. They screamed from the, conference stage, Tom does this. He wants you all to know. And everyone looked at me and I was like, yep, that's me. And that got me clients. So, yeah, that's what I would call word of mouth.
Okay. I personally like the idea that word of mouth marketing strategy is kind of long-term strategy with constant repetition of the message or story. So it can be a good choice for companies with low budget, while influencer marketing tends to focus on short-term goals usually. So word of mouth marketing requires less effort from my point of view, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's about right. So the only way I would distinguish those is one, control, right? Because if you don't control something, then that's short term because you don't control it. And creating more evergreen content, right? So things that, like, you heard of Amazon.com, right? The big
Of course.
company. And yeah, so most people have. And the one thing Jeff Bezos always tells his clients, and I have this on my wall too, is focus on things that don't change. As long as your messaging kind of goes in that direction, right? So that, if someone listens to it 5 years from now, they'll be like, oh, wow, he still makes a lot of sense. That's a long-term word of mouth. If you are just showing people pictures from the beach and you're working on your laptop, which you're really not, it's super uncomfortable to work on a laptop and on the beach. People forget there's not really much there. It's just, the likes you're getting now, and you're hoping the algorithm gives you some quick exposure for the next few days. And then it's, you got to come up with a new picture, because that's the algorithm.
Yeah.
You got to keep feeding it. So those things are very short term. And in that way, yeah, influencers often just focus on, like, let me get the next $50 or $100, which is not the long term way to do it. Yeah, so I agree with you.
Yeah, okay. I know that you have a huge experience of working with influencers. So, what can be the most important lesson that you learned from speaking with influencers from your point of view?
It's that control aspect. Like I said, most of them don't make much money. And that's mostly because, one, they start the business backwards, right? So a lot of influencers were like, I'm going to get a lot of exposure and then I'm going to make money, which often is a very bad idea. That's why you hear of someone with 1 million people following, can't even get them to buy them a pizza. It's ridiculous, right? It's better to come up with something that you can sell and then start building exposure and influence around that. Something solid.
Yes,
And then
I
you can
agree.
have a much smaller audience. You can have 500 or 1,000 people following you and make much, much, much more money. So that's the biggest message. I just find influencers just do it backwards. And then you can see it often. It hurts.
Yeah, moreover, micro influencers and nano influencers are getting more and more popular nowadays than these with millions of following. Today, we already mentioned the fact that for some businesses or startups, it may be rather expensive to go on an influencer marketing campaign. So, is it possible for a low budget company to go for an influencer marketing and do it successfully?
Yeah, of course. Very easy. So another part people like to skip over because it's not easy, it's hard, is getting the right message in front of the right audience, right? If that's done correctly, it can be done very, very cheaply. I've built the We Market Online Courses business almost all organically. We paid for almost nothing until recently because we can now. But it was all about getting the right message in front of the right people, and it took work. It wasn't easy. But we had a small following and made more profit than some of the clients we had with a huge following. And yeah, if you can get creative and really think about, who your audience is and what they're looking for, and then get them interested in you, you can actually do it very cheaply. Yeah. You don't need to be a big brand.
And how many years did it take to build your online marketing courses?
This business, we started playing around in this market about 7 years ago, doing a couple partnerships. The company didn't exist back then. It was just partnerships. Then about 2 years ago, we started taking clients on. And last, I would say, a year and a half, we got very serious about the company. And within about 2 months, we were fully booked and making very good income. It took 2 months from the moment we got serious to actually going full steam. and we haven't stopped since. So it's not a long process as long as you get those pieces in place.
Okay, so I wish you success in the future with your online business. And in general, is it possible that an influencer marketing campaign just not gonna work for your business just because it doesn't work in that particular niche? I mean, do you think that influencer marketing is for all kinds of companies and industries?
That's a good question. It depends, so when you're building a company, you kind of need to figure out what your end goal is, right? If you are building because you want to sell the business, it is better off if that company is not influenced too much by you, right? People are not buying it only because of you, and because then when someone comes to buy the business, they'll be like, well, without you, it's not really a business anymore. So that's something you should kind of think when you're starting out. Like if you want to sell, maybe keep me out of it. If you don't, yeah, why not? Like it's the easiest way and the fastest way to make money. So that's the only thing I would kind of think of is, do I want to sell or not?
Okay, and so this is the question that helps you understand that influencer marketing is going to work for your particular campaign. Oh no, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. But because the thing is, you can work yourself into a corner, right? Like you're going to have great success. Things are happening. It's all because of you. And then it's like when it comes to time to get out, which is what you wanted to do, is that you can't, because the company's like, well, it's not worth anything. So yeah, I would ask myself that a lot. And for most people who just want to have a good business, solid business, and are not looking to sell, yeah, it's the best way to do it.
Okay, thank you. And if something gets wrong in your business, what keeps you ongoing when things get tough with the influencer marketing campaign or just in your business? So what keeps you going on?
Yeah, I never really thought about that much. Well, so the thing is, you're going to hit a lot of walls in your business, right? Like it's things that are going to happen. Like if you want to go through, I have no employees, so I want to have 5 employees. That's going to be a big challenge, right? If I want to scale my business and let's say from 10K to make 20K, 30K, there's going to be a lot of problems. If you want to go from 10 clients to 50, a lot of problems. Like you're always going to get problems. Things will happen, channels shut down. So I think just like with me, it's just, with experience, like I know you just got to stick on the bus, pretty much. That's what I call it. And just write it out, and if you're on the 3rd stop and you're like, oh, this sucks, this bus looks much better, you could get off, and go on to the different bus. But then you'll realize in a couple of years, oh, I'm on the 3rd stop again. And I have 2 choices, either move to a different bus, which looks better, or push through and go to the 4th, 5th stop and have a better business. What I do find a lot of people do is they get off on the 3rd stop or 2nd stop every single time. And then when you ask them, it's like, well, how much experience do you have? It's like, oh, 20 years. And I'm like, not really. You have 2 years of experience 10 times, right? So it's not really that much. So you just got to stick through a lot of problems to build your business. Now, if your niche is dying or something happened and you need to get out, then do so. But most of the time, it's not that. Someone's just, oh, I don't want to think and do this hard thing to move forward, which, I mean, that's business, right? Just do it.
Yeah, true. And what is your source of inspiration? So what inspires you to find those new niches for business, to find new decisions, to find new people to work with?
Interesting. Inspiration. Yeah, I
What
mean,
is it?
these are not questions I think about so much, like.
So you just keep on going.
So
It doesn't matter what's happening.
well, yeah, I mean, I like what I do for the most part. Like, you're not going to like every piece of your business, but overall, I do like being in control of things. Now, reaching out to people, it's there's cycles, right? Like, there's moments where I'm like, oh, I want to talk to so many people and meet them, and then there's times where I just don't. I'm tired of everyone.
Yeah,
So
sometimes this happens.
so I think it's for everyone, right? So like if I'm building a new business in the beginning, a lot of excitement, a lot of hustle, right? I'm into it. Then things start getting bored, because things are working, you're making money, and things are kind of boring. And then you just decide, do I want to keep building it and go through some more excitement, or do I want to shut it down, sell it, start something new? A lot of the things I've done were from boredom. Like, oh, business is doing great. There's nothing for me to do. Employees tell me to go away. Let's film a movie.
Yeah.
So it's that type of stuff, right? Like just, and that happens too. In a good business, employees will be like, Tom, like, I don't need you. You're actually hurting us more than helping. I'm like, okay, so let me do something else.
Okay, thank you, Tom. So tell me, please, where can our listeners connect with you online? So what can you tell me about your presence online? Where can the audience find you?
I think smart brand marketing is the easiest way. So smartbrandmarketing.com, and you can find everything kind of from that. Like our business, we market online courses, will be under that. We track your marketing under that. Our older one, which still moves a little bit, we create online courses also under that. Like you will see different things I'm playing with underneath that brand. That's the one thing I don't want to change. It's like the umbrella that everything gets built under. But yeah, I'm super easy to find.
Okay, so then I'll put these links that you will send me in email later in the description box to this episode. And what message do you want to leave my listeners with?
Well, what is it that you usually teach your listeners? And I'll try to expand on that. Like, what is your message for them?
I have, I really have a new message after each episode, after each interview with a new guest. So what maybe can you tell them about what can keep them moving? So what can keep them moving in this hard world when the competition is high, when you think that, oh, I'm not going to succeed in that business because there are already so many successful people in that niche. So maybe something like that.
Okay. Competition. It's funny because I never care about my competition. I just don't. I'll look what they're doing a little bit, like just glance, like what offerings they're doing. But I often find I'll have someone, call me up about something, and I'll be like, oh, I spoke to all your competitors. You're too expensive. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, I'll still go with you. And I completely don't care if the customer comes with me or, the competition. So here's my advice for this. When I first started out in the marketing industry, I was trying to market to everybody. I will work with anyone, I'll whatever, just I'm the marketing guy. And someone would come up to me and be like, well, why should I work with you over someone like Dan Kennedy or Jay Abraham or, one of these big guys? And I'm like, no reason whatsoever. You should definitely go with these people if you can afford them or, find them, because I would. By going into more of a niche, so becoming a big fish in a small pond, right, which is the course marketing. I'm like one of the top in the world in that. Now, if someone says like, well, why should I work with Dan Kennedy? I was like, why in the world would you want to work with that guy? He has no idea about courses. No idea. And then they'll be like, oh, well, but this person, also is big in this industry. I'm like, they don't work with you anymore. They will sell you some course on how to market courses, but they don't actually work with you. So I became, I positioned myself, and this is a marketing through, in a way where it's a no-brainer for most of the people to work with me. And I think you should kind of look at that within your competition too. Is it just that you're in too big of a market and you shouldn't be yet? Like I could maybe go back in 10 years into that big marketing space and be like, well, now I'm so good, you should just go with me, right? Never know. What if I feel like it? But it could be that you just need to go a little more narrow. And then, and I know some listeners won't like this, just get better. Just become better at what you do, and people will not care about your competition anymore.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom, for joining me today and coming to my podcast show. I hope you liked being a guest on my Instagram Growth podcast. So thank you for sharing this valuable information. I wish you success in all of your business and all your marketing campaigns and hope to collaborate in future.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Take care.
This is a podcast sponsored by Combin.com. Grow and manage your Instagram safely and organically with Combin Growth and Combin Scheduler. Instagram promotion is easy. Combin.com.